Okay, today's Sunday, 10th of March, 2019. I am your host and educator, Cubian Organis. Now, I have just finished listening to the majority of a debate between Brother Polight and Minister Jap. And it was hosted, or you could, not hosted, the moderator, if you can call him that, was Sarnetta. And it's about an ongoing concept in the conscious community, Pan-Africanist community, Afrocentric community, pro-black community, and it is the black woman God. Okay, so I've listened to the majority of the debate, and really, I just don't think some of these guys get it. And they're a poor expression of intellectual honesty, if I be quite honest. However, in this debate, and this will probably be a short video, I don't think there's much about it because I probably wiped the floor. Less of the hyperbole. So, is the black woman God? Well, I'm going to say definitely not. Why would I say definitely not? Would I say the white? There's no woman that is a God. Unfortunately, well, it's not unfortunate at all. It is the way that it is. There are lions that will hunt in the prairie and they will eat an impala. And when I say lions, in particular, it will be, generally speaking, once you have a coalition or pride, it will be the sisterhood, the females, will go out and do their job, and they will strategize amongst themselves, and they will trap an impala or a wildebeest and bring it down. If it's small enough, whatever it is, once the job is done, the choicest parts of, well, the first eats will go to the leader of the pride. That will be the male. The females who did the work to hunt and trap that impala will not eat until he's had his fill, and then they will apportion what parts they're going to get, and for the cubs and so forth. It is the way in nature. What's that got to do with is the black woman God? Well, you know, humans have nature as well. And that nature is to act like an animal to a degree. And we see that we are actually being inculcated with modern technology, with social engineers, to behave very animalistic in a sophisticated way and accept it. Is the black woman God? No. Categorically not. Does that mean I don't like the black woman or any woman? No woman is God. Absolutely not. And it's stupid and idiotic to think any other way. So in this debate, you've got Brother Polight, who's known for saying the black woman is God, and you've got Minister Jap. Now, I don't know that much about Minister Jap and where his position is, whether he's a Bible-believing Christian or a creationist or an atheist. I don't know. He's got a website. I think he's a pretty much, I wouldn't say he was MGTOW, but he's pretty much fed up with the free love movement that started in the 19th century by females. Okay? And that runs in tandem with Marxism. Today we'll call it neo-Marxism. So this debate is, this discussion I'm having with you is to do with this debate, is the black woman God, Polight versus Minister Jap. Now, first and foremost, I think it's hosted on Sarnetta's platform. I'm not going to say too much about Sarnetta, but he continually shows his inability to do what he's supposed to do. And if you're going to be a moderator, and you're going to host a debate, know the rules of the debate, tell both parties what the rules of the debate is, and keep yourself out of it. Okay? Out of it. Don't want to hear your questions at all. Let me draw back, and let me tell you what the rules of a debate is, right? Now, they can fluctuate from time to time. So, for argument's sake, I say water is wet, somebody says no it's not, and we don't like each other, or we've got a beef with my theory or reality and his theory or his belief in the reality. And there's been an arrangement that we're going to discuss it in front of an audience, thrash it out, and I don't care what anybody says, there's going to be a winner, there's going to be a loser. Sometimes it's a draw, but depending on how you present your material and what material you have, in that encounter, it's an educational process. Everything is. So you will learn how to debate, you will learn patience, you will learn the importance of memory, and you will learn that patience is a virtue. And also, if you do your homework, quite often you will avoid embarrassment and may very well be victorious in your debate, no matter how you say it. It was just a learning process. We was just, what's the word the African American community say? We were just, I forget the term. I'm not that well versed or that impressed with the way they term what they're saying. Now, if you were going to ask me, and you probably won't, but I'm going to say it, and there is bias because I don't believe the female is God. Polight posits that the female is God, and Jap is a heavy criticizer of the black female and what she produces and her behavior. And I agree with him 100%, but I did the research. And so therefore, what I would say about the matter, which I'm not going to give you my view on the matter, because I'd have to have my books ready, and they'll be here, here, and here, and I'll tell you where you can read, and I'll give you the citations, and to demonstrate that I have done the work, and I have come to the conclusion, and this is going to hurt a lot of people, only insofar as that you're going to hear something, and you may shut off at the point of hearing what I say now. I'm going to deliberately say what I'm going to say and my conclusions and how solid they are now. And you're going to either prove my point and switch off and say, I don't want to hear this guy's blah, 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 don't like him, he's a male chauvinist and all the rest of it. Or you're going to prove me wrong and go down the road to learn. And that's the only way you're going to prove me wrong. Now I'm going to say this. Men are superior to women in physical ability. Testosterone, DNA, our lived reality on a day-to-day basis, history, and pretty much in all the sciences. So if you were the theorist, you would say the ethic expression the etic expression of the female is X, Y, and Z. Cannot be denied. The emic expression is what we see and cannot be denied. If you're going to go into phrenology, not phrenology, phenomenology, same thing. It doesn't matter which way you turn this ball, it's still round. It's round, right? And to suggest anything other is to take woman out of her element and put her in harm's way. That's my position. I probably will write a book about it. There are many really good books on the subject. I said I wasn't going to go into it, but my library is full of that stuff. That's my position. Okay? Does that mean I don't like my mum? If you want to extrapolate that, you can. Does that mean I don't want a woman in my life? You can extrapolate that if you can. Does that mean I'm gay? You can extrapolate that if you want. You can extrapolate everything you want to out of your emotions if you're not going to listen. I respect women. I love women. I am the champion of women. No matter where I go, women speak against themselves without realizing it. So the debate was interesting to me insofar as that, here we go again, the black woman is God. And Polight is a very articulate person. Some people call him a scammer and all the rest of it. I don't know. I don't care. I know he's articulate, and with everybody who's articulate and confident in expressing themselves with a microphone in front of an audience and doing presentations as well, has a degree of intelligence. Now the question is, where are the moral boundaries with that person? I don't care. Your voice, your work recorded tells me who you are. Discernment is a gift from God, the Creator. So is the woman, the black woman, see? These guys, it has to be racialized. The female is inferior to the male physically. And most people will accept that. Oh, that's a given. Yes, we know that, right? But I'm going to go one further. And usually, well, I've got books and papers and evidence to show that not only physically, but intellectually, okay? And I even go further than the scientists who actually devised these tests and determined that women is at least 4 or 5 G points behind the male's intelligence level. I'm going to say morally. You see, because intelligence without morals means nothing, okay? And I often give you the argument, or give my people the argument that, okay, so you got, I don't know, Shirley or Shaquana or whatever at the bus stop. She's just come from the back and the bank, got her handbag, and she's got her wages pulled out, and she's got $1,000 or $2,000. And at the bus stop happens to be a guy who has intel that she's got money on her. So he goes and punches her in the face, runs off with the money, and he's, got to his safe den, wherever the place may be, in his counting out and saying, yes, good. I mean, so we do it. Counting out the money, yeah, man, that's going to go down for throwing the money around or whatever, making it rain or whatever they want to do with it. Now, on the one hand, somebody will say, well, she's stupid to have been walking around with that much money. It could just as well have been Larry or Devontae at the bus stop getting mugged, robbed, and the guy counting out the money saying, yeah, man, that's going to go down for that, that's going to pay down for that, that's going to pay that. Doesn't matter. Do we say the person who's done the stealing is more intelligent than the person who actually had the money in the first place? I don't think we ascribe intelligence to that. And it's a bit like what I say with the white supremacy, but I'm not going to go there. So, is the black woman God? You're asking me, what does that got to do with anything? I think once I finish talking, you'll kind of like get it together. I might be a little scrambled. So, Polight starts this debate about, well, it starts off with Minister Jap. Polight, the debate took place this year, 4th of March. And it's one of those stupid debates I just don't get into. And I'm thinking to myself, this is going to be a quick video. It may not be, the way I'm stumbling and bumbling around. It's been a while since I've done one. So, you've got my computer, and you've got Polight here, Jap here, and down here in the boxes, Sarnetta. And let me pull back. In a debate, there are rules. And the rules are this. One person puts their proposition, their stance, or where they are, give an introduction, I am such and such, I have done this, blah, blah, blah. My position on this issue is X, Y, and Z. They may give that person 15 minutes, or 10 minutes, or in this case, 8 minutes. The opposition, I'm using the word opposition because I'm being bombastic, so, get over it. I'm not PC, I'm not playing the game. The opposition, no matter what you hear and disagree with, within that 8, 5, 10, 15 or 20 minutes, you say nothing. Once he's made his case, he's laid down his gambit, then it's your turn to say who you are, introduction, and why you disagree. Now some people, we don't do what white men do. Well, that's up to you. Intelligence doesn't have a colour. The order of things doesn't have a colour. You either understand that that's the best way to go forward or not. And if you're going to say, well, I'm not doing it, that's up to you. But you get nothing, and you just all you do is confirm that you're stupid. Okay? And in the black communities, and I would say communities in England and in America, and I'm not quite sure it's true to the maximum because I'm believing most voices are COINTELPRO and given an agenda to make black people as a whole sound stupid. Right? But anyway, so the rules are, to start with, you get a time period to talk. And I've listened to lots of debates. It's usually 15 to 20 minutes, maybe, round about that. And then the other person comes in, uninterrupted, the same. The second round would be, depends, the second round would be a rebuttal, which means, well, you just said blah, blah, blah. That's not right because blah, blah, blah. So you rebut the person. You take try to take their argument apart, or show where the flaws are, or show where they're limited in their research, and you will get less time than you did for your opening salvo or your opening statement, and vice versa. Again, uninterrupted. What happens in the third round is usually, again, a smaller period where you've got questions you might want to fire at the opposition. Aha! I've got a question you don't know. Or you said, and I know categorically, and that goes vice versa. What you don't do in these 3 rounds is talk over each other, or you can't, you hear hot words and you're just going to interrupt. No matter what he said in the first round, you shut up. You make your notes. Because when it comes down to your questions in the third round, fire back. Okay? Because usually in your first round, you have your statement about what you believe, why you believe it, and the evidence for it, along with your introduction. The second round is when you say, you just said, and you just said, and you ask, you solicit an answer. And if they are not ready for your question, then they might be floundering, or they may have an answer. It depends on how you ask the question, because if you think you've got him in a aha moment, you may look silly when he has the perfect answer, whatever it is. That's debate. So you've got your first round is your intro, and your statement. The second round is your rebuttal statement and what you believe. The second round is your question and answer of each other. And the third round is your rebuttal, sorry. And your third round is your questions and answers. And then usually it goes to the audience. Now, if it's an online debate, then there's an audience already waiting. You call in the number and ask the question of anybody you want. And usually the best, a good moderator will take equal amount of questions from both sides. Or just say, open a window, and we're going to take 20 calls. And if it happens to be dominated by one person getting attacked or questions, whatever. There's ways around that. But that's the basic framework of a debate. Of course, with these guys, Senator doesn't understand that. So, it's like, what am I doing listening to this? Already, I mean, unfortunately, Minister Jap has the right argument, but he's clearly not scholarly. He's experiential. That's where his views are coming from. He's correct. And he cannot seem to control himself. And I would say that because he's interrupting when it's not his time to talk. That should have been explained to him. And also, I think he hadn't got the experience that Polight has in the debate forum. So Polight, being verbose as he is, will sit down there because he is verbose, and he will utter things that this person hasn't heard of. And usually that kind of gets you like a deer in the headlights. It's the kind of like a paralysis you get of the mind, because he's saying something about something and being so definite about it that it must be true. Okay. So anyway, in this debate, Jabari starts off and basically gives up a Chicago snapshot, because he's from South Chicago. Gives a snapshot of his view of the female, the black female, and the kind of ratchet behaviour he sees, which is undeniable. You got to look at World Star Hip Hop. I was flinging Maury, I was flinging Jerry Springer, and I can go on and on with some things that you've never heard or seen yet. But I'm going to save that for my argument about feminism, and I'm going to do one on feminism. And I know you have never heard some of the stuff that I'm going to reveal for you. I know this because my lecturers don't know, because they don't do the work, they just repeat. But they get qualifications for repeating. That's another argument. But I actually go there. And I will have the books with all the quotes here for you. Trust me. You don't have to just be there next time when you see feminism and IQ bin Organis going in on it. But I know you're going to learn a lot. Okay? So, it's Polight's turn. And Polight's doing that foolishness that people do when, some of the obvious stuff is being said and you don't really know how to handle it. So he's going all over the place. He's talking about, he goes to the Merriam-Webster. What's the definition of God? So he's gone for a definition of God there. Then he's gone for another definition of God and another thing. Okay? And then he says he's not into those space cadet business, the spookism to do with the creator, because that's the way they look at it. They're either Egypt or sun worshippers or whatever. They're Darwinian evolutionists. That's another thing they don't know. One of these days I'm going to give you the quote from Darwin to show you where the out of Africa theory comes from. Yes, I did it. Yes, I found it. And nobody else has spoken about it. And I'll blow it wide open for what it is. So, no matter how they style it about, the conscious community planet, it's Darwinian evolution. Okay? So, you know, it's not space cadet stuff, and, you know, he's coming to this definition of the female being God. And so, immediately, Polight is stepping away from God being the creator. That's not what he means with black woman being God. Later on in the debate, Jap says what I know it to be. This conscious community is pretty much like the poetry community he was in. He called it, I'm going to use this word, a fuck fest, right? And it's pretty much what it is. And the look on Polight's face, it was telling, because Polight, if you don't know, has 4 wives or had 4 wives. Maybe he's got 3 now, maybe he's got another one, right? That's something you'd have to look up for yourself. And we all know flattery gets you everywhere. And if you tell a woman how pretty she is, we know where that goes. And how fit she and all that, we know where that goes. But when you tell her she's God, not a goddess, she's God, you really are cutting to the chase and getting, you know what I mean? And Jack was saying, boy, you know, you reason with these girls and pretty much jaws are coming off. I don't see how that's God, okay? If you are a God, it's innate within you. We all make mistakes, you know, because we are human beings. And that's the problem with this concept of saying the black woman is God. So Jap is saying pretty much black women make the worst decisions. They are ratchet, they do lots of stuff. And it's coming from an American perspective, right? So a lot more of that trash is going on over there. And if you look at it from a perspective of white trash, what they call white trash, you know, or redneckism, somebody who's a redneck getting loads of women and getting life easy, saying all these trash gal, redneck gal, is God, you can see, you know, it's profitable and definitely keeps you virile and active in that department, because flattery gets you everywhere. And the God seems to buy it all the time. So, in my view, Jap is correct. And it's the first time I've actually seen Polight pretty much destroyed, because you cannot defend it. And as much as these guys will say, you know, the black woman is God, and refer to Queen Nefertiti and Hatshepsut and all kind of, you know, Queen and Zingers and what they did and all that right? These people are full of the proverbial, right? Because they are putting women in harm's way. They don't know where the philosophy comes from, and they don't understand the concept of leadership, the royal culture of lineage, etc. And they ignore the historical reality and the lived reality. The lived reality, the everyday reality, they're not interested, because they just want to get paid and laid. That's basically it. And Jack made a point, and he was saying about pretty much you just tell girls what they want, and in any community, you know, if it's the rap community, if it's the Hotep conscious community, if it's the Rasta community, you tell them what they want to hear, and they feel very cool to hear it, and pretty soon jaws are coming off. Somebody's knickers is coming off, and someone's getting, you know what I mean? And there comes these babies, and there comes these absent fathers, and there comes these women inviting another man for flattery, you know? Because he has to say she's an empress. He didn't say God, empress. The other one says she's a queen. princess, whatever it is they say to get in there. And these royalties and gods and deities seem to fall for it all the time. And then we've got the kids growing up shooting each other, stabbing each other. And who gets the blame? And who should get the blame? If you're a god, you're all knowing, you're all seeing,